Good evening, guys, and welcome to my kitchen in Sweden. I'm dyeing seam binding today, and this is just some simple ones from dollar store. I'm always, before dyeing them, I'm taking some heating and just burn the edge so they won't rip when I have them in the water. Be careful, but it's really nice, because when you are drying them later on, they always want to rip with the thread. So then I'm using my Brusho, as I did on the paper, and this is Indian blue, and I also going to use ultramarine, light brown, and some pink, I think it will be, probably some small piece at least, and of course coffee in my spritzer bottle. I using coffee, and I'm using half coffee and half water, so 50-50, so it won't be so dark. Then I'm just blending the Brusho in water before I put it on my seam binding, so I won't get this harsh colors. I want them to be soft. They will make some marks with stronger colors on some places when I put them to dry lying down. So I'm starting by soft colors. I always wet my seam binding in water first, so they aren't going to soak too much. So I'm taking just a glass of water and put my Brusho colors in and stir properly, so we won't get any of this pieces of the powder that is so strong. And it's blended from different colors, so sometimes you get a yellow dot even if it's a blue color. Then I'm just taking some blue and splash it onto my... I realized I needed a bit stronger, so I'm just adding some more. It will dry lighter than you can see here, so take a bit stronger than you want it. Don't be afraid. Using some sea green too, to give it a little bit of a greenish blue. Taking a sip of my coffee while I talk to you. I did this recording without sound, so I could concentrate, so I'm talking you through this while I'm making the movie. Now you can see it's a bit stronger. Just flipping it around so we get color on some parts and keep the white on some other parts. A little bit more. And then when I dry it, I keep it horizontal on a tray or in a container of some sort. That way the color will move around, and it will be stronger on some parts and lighter on some other parts. So now I'm spritzing some coffee. That's always nice to tone it down. I can say that after I have seen them dry, I could have added a bit more coffee. I was a bit afraid it will be too dark, but I didn't want it grungy this time, just old looking. Little bit more blue. Love the blue. Like that. So now I'm leaving this to dry until tomorrow. Little bit more coffee. I should have added a little bit more. Okay, let's look at some other way to color. This time I have added my water straight onto my counter. And this way I can blend the color first and put the textile in afterwards. Then I can try to get different colors on different places on my seam bindings. So here is the brown and some blue. Then I'm just move it around so I will get rid of the powder so we don't get this hard colors. So I'm taking some water on my seam binding again, so I'm sure that it's wet. And then I will just put it in and move it around. I'm just taking it off the roll here. It's 15 meters, so quite much on each of these rolls you can buy for $1. And as I did this with blue and brown, it actually turned green. So I'm adding a little bit more of the blue, but in the end it turned out green anyway. So, but it was a nice green, so it's totally okay. I will do nature journals later on, so I'm sure that will work. But it wasn't my intention, but maybe as I blended them I should have thought of that. But it didn't look like that in on the counter, so I thought it should be brown and blue, but no. So the next thing I do, I take another piece and just add coffee. So this will just look at as it is old first, and then I add another blue color. I think this was ultramarine. It's a little different in shades than Ostinian blue. So the same way I'm leaving this in the container overnight, so it will dry and hit the edges of the seam binding for at least on some places. A little bit more coffee, a bit lighter. Nice color, like that. So once again we are going to change color, and I think it turned out to be 5 different in the end. Here I'm taking strong coffee right from my bench. So this will be a bit stronger and a little bit more grungy, but I'm just pouring it here and there so it won't be all over this time. So this way I color most of my seam binding when I want to color them. Some way they get more soft and more easy to work with when they have been wet. So now I'm trying Preussisch blue, and that is an acrylic color. I'm doing the same way. I put it in a glass and stir, so I won't get any pieces of the acrylic wetting the seam binding. And as I put it in my container, I realized that I hadn't stirred enough, so there will be some pieces of the acrylic paint. So I guess we will see. You can see we get some pieces of the acrylic, so I need to try to smush them down. But I think I saved it, so it wasn't any catastrophe. I can't speak today. Too little of the coffee, I think. And then the last thing I'm going to use is some pink crimson. And as I don't use so much pink, I decide that I'm going to use this one, but I put a little bit of blue in it, so it's almost purple. Blueberry blue, I call this. Looks like you have used blueberries. Blueberries I like, so that's a bit better. I don't want the yellowish pink. So soft and nice. So I will leave this to dry overnight, and then I will come back and show you the result. So these are the result of the process video where I colored this white seam binding from dollar store. What I love best with this is you get these marks in beautiful colors on these, and they are still neutral. Get this beautiful blue shading. So I did a darker blue, and this one is a bit more clear light blue. But I actually didn't not do a turquoise this time. You know, I love turquoise by now. I actually did a pink. Almost kind of a blueberry pink color to play with. And of course coffee dyeing. Like this pattern with almost like gold. And then I did this one with light kind of greenish tone. So as you could see, it's easy to make your own colors, and if you don't want them to be spotty like this, you can just hang them and then it will drip down. This pattern will be when you dry them lying like this. I like that because that gives me some different shades and patterns. So I'm cutting them where it's the color I want to have. Sometimes I want light and sometimes I want dark. Now this way I can choose if I would like a dark or a light, depending on where I'm cutting. So try this, it's so fun and very easy to do. And you can play at the same time. So I hope you got inspired and will try this. See you soon again. I will be back with a couple of journals that are ready. So there will be a couple of flip throughs. Have a nice evening. See you soon again. Bye bye from Sweden.